What's up guys, Rui here and welcome back to the channel. I am crazy excited for this week's video because we will probably be the first channel on YouTube to have the honor and privilege to be checking out and reviewing the entire level 3 collection from NOTINLIST. And if you guys are a fan of video games and anime, trust me, you will want to stick around for this video. But before we continue to dive further into today's video, this video is in partnership with NOTINLIST. So if you guys are interested in any of the pieces, all the links to them can be found down below in the description box. Also, if you guys are new to the channel or just haven't been subscribed yet, it would really mean the world to me if you guys can go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below, as it really does help the channel out a long way. Or if you guys are feeling generous and want to help support the channel in a much bigger way, I do have a Patreon page whereby its lowest tier, it is only $1 a month, and all of it will go in helping me to pick up new filming equipment so that I can continue to improve the qualities of the videos for you all, as well as helping to keep the lights on this channel. With the rising popularity of animation, comic, and games, or better known as the ACG subculture, more and more people are getting exposed to it, and what once was a rather small and niche community has now evolved to become one of the largest and most mainstream ones out there. You have comic book titles being turned into high-budget Hollywood movies. The video game industry has now become one of the largest in the world with the rise of mobile gaming, esport titles, streaming platforms, and on the forefront of it all, the Japanese manga and anime industry has become a worldwide phenomenon. This boom has led to many barriers being broken between industries, and the influence of this subculture within the fashion industry has most certainly played a major role. However, this whole thing is actually nothing new. In fact, we could look at all the references dating way back towards the early 2000s. In more modern times, we still do see many ACG references within the fashion industry in many different shapes and forms, such as with the release of the acronym Downtown Air Force One High that got a short comic strip drawn by renowned cartoonist Paul Pope, Louis Vuitton with their League of Legends collab that brought not only physical goods, but also digital in-game Louis Vuitton character skins, and for Undercover's SS11, Jun Takahashi literally created his own tokusatsu character called Underman that had its own lore and backstory written. To be honest, I had quite the privilege to follow a lot of what's been going on behind the curtains for this collection, and I feel like ever since I've seen the roadmap behind what the brand is trying to achieve here, not just with this collection, but moving forward, it has immediately become one of my favorite brands out there, as I feel like what they are trying to achieve here is really insane and ambitious. In the previous collections, we have already been introduced with the concept of showcasing garments through the lens of video games and anime. While it was a very interesting idea and it's still something that I'm fully behind, it definitely was still very much in its infancy stage. In my opinion, with such a grand concept, there were many aspects that still needed a lot more refinement and time to execute properly. While it was cool to see the entire collection being presented in a more futuristic setting and even implementing certain video game designs into the garments itself, it kind of lacks a strong, compelling story to kind of give this whole narrative kind of motive and reasons behind it. Over on the garment side of things, the brand still kind of faced a lot of production issues such as time of production, costing, and various others. That is why for almost a year, the brand has been on hiatus, working hard behind the scenes to improve not only the production pipeline, but also further developing this idea of integrating the ACG culture with fashion. And I personally think they truly have created something that's super unique here. Honestly, it's truly inspiring to see the amount of care and effort dedicated to this vision, and I really must take my hats off to Xavier, who is literally the one-man army for this brand. While adopting the ACG culture into fashion is not a revolutionary concept or anything like that, as many brands have dabbled into it in the past. However, I feel how the brand is trying to approach it here is very unique and different in the sense, unlike a lot of other brands out there that kind of just use this concept as a one-off thing for their collection and move on to the next. NOTINLIST is literally trying to build an entirely new fictional world known as Xora that will continue to expand through multiple different collection drops and will have a timeline that will extend across thousands of years. Within this fictional world, you have different factions making up the population, and within them there are also multiple different archetypes that give birth to unique characters in the story that all have their own unique look, personality, and traits. All of this aims to add a layer of emotion and relatability towards its audience. This entire concept is based on the idea of wanting to produce tangible garments that are accompanied with a fictional narrative. Therefore, all the character outfits are designed off the actual clothing pieces from the collection, and you, the audience, are also known as hybrids, will not only get to experience the story of Xora, but also partake in the universe through the physical clothing. Being someone who always has a fascination with fictional character designs, there was always this idea of trying to somehow bring those looks into a more fashion-focused aesthetic instead of looking at it purely as cosplay. Sadly, a large majority of the outfits aren't exactly translatable into real-life wear because it tends to be overly exaggerated as they are designed with a more fantasy look in mind. That is why I got so incredibly excited when I found out that they are producing an entire new fantasy universe filled with unique character designs that are fashion focused. It's literally everything that I've been dreaming about. Now that we have a better understanding on what is it the brand is trying to achieve here, let's dive into Xora, an original novel series that the brand has created. In Volume 0 titled Exordium, it sets us into a near future planet Earth whereby mankind has pretty much fully adopted the metaverse. It was then a cybernetic virus capable of infecting humans circulated on the World Wide Web and caused the infected to have their eyes bleed and were impaired by the same illusions over and over again. In response, the globe shuts down its mainnet immediately, and without any access to cyberspace, the world rapidly declined into extreme chaos, causing human society to recede back into the Dark Ages. 2 years has passed since the rise of Xora, and the first survivor came to light, though she did sustain a genetic mutation, causing her head to turn silver and her eyes took on a completely different color. This was the first ever encounter of a silver descendant and marks a whole new chapter for mankind. In time, the Silvers had arisen, calling themselves God's apostles. It is then we learn further that a civilization from a higher dimension had injected Xora into the galaxy. The mutated Silvers led human society into an unprecedented technological advancement, and in a time span of 150 years, they established a new empire known as Zysteria. During that period, there had been numerous race wars against the Silvers, but to no avail. As the Empire strengthens its standing, Chapter 0 ends on a cliffhanger, with the Silvers begin building the Yiga Durashil, a tunnel allowing the extraterrestrial spirits to enter the human world. That is all we are introduced to as of this recording, and I think it sets up a very interesting storyline that many readers and fans of the brand can be invested into. The story does seem to be covering more on topics such as politics and race, which I think sets up a more mature and darker underlying tone. The way the entire story will unfold is through their flagship site, and it is publicly open for everyone to follow. As mentioned from the beginning, the idea behind this concept is to create tangible garments that carries fictional narratives, and the idea behind this is actually inspired from the way RPG stories are being told. Therefore, the world building aspect will actually come from the garments itself, as each piece actually will carry its own origin story that will add layers and depth into the world of Xora. This concept is actually borrowed from the way Elden Ring introduces its backstories and past histories of the world, and I think this is how the brand tries to implement the gaming aspect, as it encourages its audience to uncover and piece together bits of information that are scattered among all the pieces to form this larger depiction of the world. In addition to that, every piece actually belongs to different factions and follows the setting of the story as well. Take this collection ZK2 down jacket for example. This piece actually belongs to the Shadow Corp archetype, who is in the Zyteria faction, and the different colors of the jacket actually represents the ranking of the soldier. Over time, as the story progresses, we will be introduced to new pieces that are related towards the current storyline of Xora. So if, let's say, the current storyline now takes place in a desert setting, then in theory all the pieces for that particular collection will be more suited for those types of conditions, as it will be the actual outfits that the characters are wearing. Something else I wanted to point out, if we were to look at the character and universe design, although it is based in a futuristic setting, it doesn't have any of that cyberpunk aesthetic, but instead it carries more of a dystopian high fantasy type of design that combines futuristic elements with more old school weaponry, which kind of reminds me of titles like Final Fantasy. That is all I have for today's video, and I really do hope I managed to do this brand justice by properly explaining the ideation and concept of this whole new universe that they're trying to build. And believe me, I really do want this brand to succeed, because if it does take off, the roadmap for this brand is going to be something that's really interesting to see. For example, there were even talks of kind of printing physical trading cards that will come with each piece, and also potentially even creating a full-fledged manga series for Xora. However, all of these narratives and concept means nothing if the garments are not good. So part 2 or the full review video for the entire level 3 collection will be out at the same time tomorrow, so do stay tuned for that. But if you guys can't wait and want to check it out immediately, it is already up on Patreon for all level 5 supporters. Now, initially there was a pre-order discount for early birds, but as of the release of this video, that promotion has already ended. But after some discussions with them, I managed to provide you all that are watching this video an additional 10% discount. So for those that did miss out on the initial kind of pre-order sales price, here is your second chance to pick something up for a slightly cheaper price. If you have stuck all the way to the end, thank you so incredibly much. And if you guys did enjoy watching today's video, please do give it a thumbs up. And once again, if you guys are new to the channel or just haven't been subscribed yet, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button down below, as it's these little things that really does help to push the channel out to more people. That's all I have for today's video. Please do stay safe out there, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.